Judy, chill out with the noise, okay? First thing this morning, again. First thing this morning. Ah, see? Look.
Flying!
They're flying too. Here, put this back in the thing and put it.
Flying!
Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. That's wobble.
Oh,
That's wobble. That's wobble. It's gonna fly right there. If the fan hit, it's just the fan's gonna hit it too, baby. All right, y'all. All right. Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It is the last day of March 31st, 2020. And it's day 111 of year 2 of reading through the Old Testament. We are reading today 2 Kings 21, 22, and 23. And you know what? Tomorrow is our last day in the book of Kings. Then we'll go right into First Chronicles. Yay. Betwabu, y'all. Betwabu. Hey, girl. Hey. Oh, hey, Pastor Brandon. Good morning. Betwabu. Listen, y'all. I must talk about this. I not must. I really want to. Something that happened yesterday. Girl, she is. She on 100 first day this morning. So, like, I know my start time is at 7, but on the days, like, she be doing the most. I'm like, should I just adjust it to 7:30 permanently? But no, I think I'm going to keep it at 7. What I'm really going to do, I think I might just need to set my clock a little bit earlier. I'm going to try and keep her up a little bit later during the night because she must be able to sense when I get up. She smells me getting up or something, you know, because yesterday when I woke up, like I was walking into my bathroom, I didn't even hear it. But when I was going to close the bathroom door, I was like closing the door and her little hand was like, I'm like, oh girl, where you come from? You know, so she wanted to sit in there the whole time with me when I'm pulling myself together. But twabble, Trina, hey girl, hey. Yes, baby girl. Yeah, you popped it, so, okay. All right, y'all. So the title of the day, they arrested the pastor. Was this wrong or not? Some of y'all may know what I'm talking about. So in Florida, they've issued a strict stay-at-home order, right? You know, and of course, you know, like around here, they've closed down the churches and everything because most churches simply cannot, comply with the 10 or less. So, which is why if you can do it online, do it online. Your people ain't gonna miss a thing unless they don't have like the internet or something. But most people have a phone and you can tune in to your, if your church is online, which I got no problems with that, you know. But here's the thing, right? So, the day that they issued the stay-at-home order.
It's not free time, so.
What'd you say?
Time to make these donuts.
Oh, all right. Be safe out there. Watch it. The cops on every corner.
Show you right.
Don't forget y'all paperwork.
I got it. You know, I was scared.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too.
I love you too, Mom.
Yeah, so, matter of fact, here, there, Nikki, hey, girl, hey, Betwabu, good rise. So here in Virginia, I knew it was about to get real because, you know, my sister, she's an RN, she works in a hospital, and a few days ago, they started issuing them their, the letters. They told all the medical staff, doctors, nurses, CNAs, PRNs, everybody that is a part of the medical field, they said take these, keep them in your glove compartment because once they start pulling people over, you need to be able to verify that you are essential personnel. But they knew this prior days ahead of time because of their morning meetings and everything. And, you know, she kind of kept me informed of some stuff on the medical field, you know, and they're in contact with other nurses at other hospitals and stuff, you know. So I was like, that's really credible information, you know. My sister's not going to lie to me, you know. So, and, I seen a actual picture of it. You know, so I was like, okay. So I really thought, oh yeah, it's about to get real. You know, they ain't playing. You know, which I get it. It's the social distancing is a way to stop the spread. Okay, I see that because everybody not out and about. You know, you can't keep passing it. But seeing that it was already here back in November, you really can't tell how much it spread and how many people have already been infected. And there were people dying in November and in December of this before they could even verify what it is because they tested negative for flu. But a lot of these people were having the same symptoms. And it's not broadcast nationally, but the articles were there. And even some people, and you know, some of the daily updates, like I said, I tune into a lot of the updates just to see, you know, what's going on in the different states and everything. While I'm, you know, throughout the day, just listen to it, see if anything different, anything sounds out of place. And that's one of the things I picked up. I was like, oh yeah, people were, you know, and I was like, it's probably just really, really bad flu, and they were not strong enough to come back from it, you know. But lo and behold, I mean, they can't verify now because the people are already dead. But with the symptoms they were saying, their family members were saying that was going on, you know, not being able to breathe and the lungs being pretty much overwhelmed with the mucus and the phlegm and everything. This is clearly what it was. They died of coronavirus, COVID-19, you know. But I'm not a medical doctor. I can't legally say that, you know, but based on information of what's being put out there, that's what it was, right? Okay. So with that, okay, so back to the passing and forth. Okay, so there was an article put up, you know, and you know, church folk, they go hard for the family. That's I got to give it to them. If you ever gonna be in the game, you might want to be in the game with some church folk, because no matter what, they got your back. And most of the time, even if you did wrong, they're gonna fight to the death with you. And that can be a good thing, and they can really be a bad thing, especially if you're fighting against y'all and you don't even know it. And that's why it's like, I'm like completely mind blown at this whole scenario, right? So, was it yesterday? I think it was day before yesterday. They put out the order to a mandatory stay-at-home order for. I'm sorry, y'all. James got me balloons yesterday because it's my birthday and she wanted to play with the balloons, so I let her play with the balloons. And the strings popped off and they got the ceiling fan on. I'm just not. So if you hear that or you see me just, you know, what is wrong with this girl? I'm trying to catch the balloons. What? Okay, so the next day, and also that day, they gave a list of everybody who had to shut down. Say fast food places, restaurants, you had to shut inside. Y'all know, because it's the same thing here. Churches, you must close because you there's no way you can comply with your members, even if you space them out. You know how church folk get together, they want to hug and stuff. So to stop all that, they just said churches closed down. Period. Now here's something I want to say about churches. I may have mentioned this before. I'm saying this because they put this out here. They said if churches don't comply, they would run the risk of losing their nonprofit status. I'm like, well, first of all, if people read and really paid attention, I did taxes for over a decade. And when I found this out, I actually told a couple of pastors about it. This is really good information. So if churches, they think that they have to take the 501c3 status, they absolutely do not need to take the 501c3 status to become a nonprofit, because according to the IRS tax code, churches are considered a nonprofit already. They don't have to file for the status. Now here's the kicker. When you file for the status, this is when the government can begin to dictate what you preach from your pulpit, because once you take the 501c3 status, you technically become an agent of the state. And now you have to follow certain guidelines of what nonprofits have to do according to the IRS tax code. And some people's like, well, we ain't got nothing to hide, we'll go ahead, we comply, whatever. I say, yeah, see, but it's the little things that you don't see that add up, that get you in trouble down the line. So now when there's a big issue with something that blow up in the news about homosexuality and the people want to talk about it and you're broadcast, now you have to make a decision. Should I talk about this? Do I really want to talk about this? What does the Bible really say about this? Or are we going to skip around the topic so that we don't get in trouble and bring our church in trouble, and we're now jeopardize ourselves and put ourselves in a position to be audited and possibly have our status taken away and possibly shut down, right? So I'm like, now, when you run into those issues, now we can really see where your heart is at. Some people say, we want to use wisdom. No, you really follow y'all. You really follow y'all. You really teaching what's here. You really have no fear. You really serving him. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. You done took this 501c3 status. Tell us the truth, or you scared they might come take it and take your livelihood away too. Now we know what God you really serve. You really serve the God of mammon. You really serve the God of mammon, because you won't tell the people the truth for fear that they're going to come and shut your four walls down. So we know, and that would have been the day that I would have walked away from that church, because you're a liar and you're a charlatan and you won't tell the people the truth, and you love money more than you love y'all. I'm telling you. Okay. So I said that because of what I'm about to say, right? Okay, so now this pastor, mind you, the day before, the state put out the order, shut down. You can't have the service. You can go online. We have no problem with that. Just, we want to make sure everybody's safe and the spread is not being done. So we also know in another place that pastors did not follow it. They continue to have their church service, and next thing you know, a few days later or whatever, people start from his particular congregation. After that, Bella, stop that. After that particular church service, people from his congregation started getting sick, because there were people in his congregation who were COVID-19 positive and didn't know it. And they were there hugging, bless you, sister, bless you, brother, bro. God bless you, man. And now, you know how we do at church? Hugging everybody, dap you up and all this stuff. And all the time you dapping up, you passing COVID-19 along to the members of the church and the parishioners. And not only them, everybody want to say hi and bye to the pastor. You know what? The pastor got it too. The pastor and most of his congregation. Why? Because you all are rebels. You are rebels, and you don't know what's in this book. And everybody wants to, everybody, we want to see a move of God, and it's the scary times, and people want to meet at the house of the Lord. I said, but wait a minute. Nobody's paying attention, and nobody reads this. I get the logic of that. So what makes you think when COVID-19 breaks out that the power of God is going to be there? Where was the power of God in your church all before COVID-19? You ain't going to tell me just because the people got scared. Stop. How about, come on. You ain't going to tell me just because the people got scared, because airborne virus is now killing people and they dropping like flies all over the earth, that y'all is going to show up now and he didn't show up before? You mean you're going to actually be able to summon him in this one church service when y'all been acting a fool all this other time? Oh, Pam, you too hard, you too hard. No, I'm not. I didn't even got to know your church. But I tell you one thing, if the power of Yah was in your church, the whole world would know. The entire world would know that the power of Yah was in your church. So don't come to me with that foolishness telling me, oh, the people want it together because they're looking for God. I get that. And we should be. But you can't tell me that the church, by you violating the laws of the land, not only the laws of the land, but the laws of this book, and you don't know the laws of this book, which tells you to obey the laws of the land in the New Testament and in Old, and especially, do you know that there's instances just like COVID-19 in the scriptures that even Yahuwah says, separate these people from the congregation before they pass it along. Do not let them come in here. If they're suspect, you need to get them out from among these people immediately. So now they said, even the states are telling you, separate these people. Everybody go to their own house until we can slow this. It's almost the same thing. When there was something that broke out in the county, Yahuwah said, stop. Get everybody, go home, get the suspect ones from amongst the people. Otherwise, it's going to spread it and everybody's going to die. You can talk about this in the spiritual realm or in the natural realm like we see it doing. And because the pastors were disobedient, they put their own lives at risk and the risk of all their members who trusted them. Now you got to live with the guilt that some of your members might die because of your foolishness and your zealousness without knowledge of this very book that you teach to your people. That's what pisses me off. That's what angers me about the church. You got this holy zealousness without knowledge, and you're causing your people to sin. You're causing them to break the laws of the land, and what they said could possibly happen in your church. Most of your church, everybody that attended that assembly, and possibly the ones that didn't attend the assembly, and possibly some of the husbands that didn't go, or the children that stayed home with dad or whatever, but you went and you attended this service. Now, not only did you get infected in the church with the members that went, but everybody went back to their own homes and infected their entire homes. What's the word I want to use? My favorite word has become disgusting. We have people in the pulpit teaching Yahuwah's people to do disgusting things that strictly go against what he say. I get the logic of people looking for God at this time. Everybody want to crowd into the church. I'm like, but crowding in the church will get you dead a lot faster today with COVID-19 than you would be staying at home. Y'all got FaceTime. Y'all better get online, start a prayer line, phone prayer line or something. Get on Google Chat where you can see everybody's face on multiple FaceTime chat. Y'all can do that. What is wrong with y'all? So I brought that up because
I told you.
You told me. Okay, eat whichever one you want to. So I'm like, I get the zealousness, and people they fighting for this pastor or whatever, and they said the police department was up there, the state's attorney was there, and they brought another pastor from the local community or whatever. They were saying, listen, we said it, but he outright disobeyed the order that we put out, and the day after they put the order out, he had a church service. And not only that evening, he had a church service. And not only that, the next day, I think it was like a Sunday, but anyway, like 2 days after, he had a couple church services after they had put that out, and somebody reported him. And they should have reported him, because you're supposed to be a pillar in the land that people can look up to and come to advise you. Who said priests should have wisdom flowing off their lips? Priests should preserve knowledge. But the priests out here are teaching the people to be vagabonds and to disobey orders.
Mom,
yes.
Let's play in here.
Okay, don't pull out the big one. Yahuwah has a lot to say about this. When they said, remember when, or we haven't gotten to it this time yet, but we've seen little small things. Yahuwah kept telling Zion, Israel, listen, straighten up, keep the commands. Otherwise, I'm going to bring judgment. So and people, they seem to go into some kind of daze like Yah is not going to show up, like he's not going to bring judgment, like he constantly says. So when they stop listening to Yah, they stop listening to the priests. Like I said, he raised up prophets from the midst of them who have grown up with them and seen the foolishness and the garbage that they do. So then he activates his prophets, and the prophets began to speak. Yahuwah said, return to his commands. Keep his commands. Otherwise, and Yahuwah got specific. The king of Babylon is coming to take you away. They didn't believe, oh, get out of here, prophet. You hear from Yah, I hear from Yah too. And that's the kind I've heard even yesterday. I've seen prophets type this stuff. People who call themselves prophets. I'm not saying that they not prophets. I was like, you in trouble? And all the ones that's listening to you in trouble too. You belong to the guild of prophets. You can't be separated as an Elijah prophet, one who speaks the truth. Because even through here, we'll see the prophets of Yah. When the people, the kings, they want to hear a true word from Yah, they say, go bring the prophets, And so they listen to what the prophets say. Shall we go up to war? And the prophets, the guild of prophets get together. Yes, king, go up. You shall go to war. And even the king knew. He said, why must you always lie to me? He said, is there not a prophet of Yahuwah in the land? And one of his servants, he said, yeah, there's the prophet Micah. He said, but I hate him. They hate the prophets because the prophets, they're not harsh. The prophets, they just speak the truth. They said, Yahuwah said, stop the sinning and return to his commands, or this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And so they called for the prophet Micah. And so called the prophet Micah in there. And when they went to the prophet Micah, they said, the king requests to see you. He said, for what? Why are y'all even here? Doesn't the king have a whole band of prophets that he listens to? Go ask them. He said, get out of here.
I got it.
Okay, get it up. Put it in trash. He said, get out of here. And that's what the prophets do, because they know the people's hearts, most of the time, they want to hear you talk, but their hearts are already set on not listening and not doing what Yahuwah says to do anyway. So Micah said, why are you calling me? Yahuwah told him, he said, go ahead. And so when he got to the king, he said, listen, prophet Micah. He said, don't lie to me, but tell me something good. That's essentially what he said. And he said, so, shall I go up and fight against the Assyrians? He said, yep, go on up. And he looked at him, he said, didn't I tell you not to lie to me? He said, hold on. Before he asked him, he said, don't lie to me. He said, I will only speak what Yahuwah tells me to speak. He said, then he was like, well, tell me something good. Then he said, shall I go up to fight with the Assyrians? And he said, yeah, go ahead up and fight with them. And he looked at him, he said, didn't I tell you not to lie to me? He said, what you asked me for? He said, listen, this is the word of Yah. He said, every man go to their homes. Do not go up there messing with them Assyrians. He said, because I will not be with you. And see, and then the guy came out. He said, see, he never has anything good to say. That's why he said, I hate him. You know, and I was laughing. I mean, because I see this when I'm reading. I've read it so much. The stories are like, it's almost like a movie playing when I read it. And so it's the same thing with the prophets. They don't want to hear like, oh, you always the judgment of prophets, the judgments of doom and gloom. It's not the prophets of doom and gloom. It's the thing is you don't want to hear the truth. You want to hear what sounds smooth to your ear so you can continue in the same path that you were going. But that path is about to lead you right off the cliff and all them people behind you. You know, so that's why they dropped the prophet Jeremiah in a cistern to kill him, because they didn't like the words of Yah that were coming out of his mouth. You know, so, but Yah is always faithful to his servants. Story come alive. Oh, yes, Trina's story come alive. And it's coming alive, and people aren't seeing it. You know, so they said, the king said, go get the prophet Jeremiah from out of the cistern, because I'm afraid he might die down there. And some of his servants went down there and took him out, and they hid the prophet Jeremiah away. And Jeremiah got to live a long life to the death. And although the people went into captivity, Jeremiah got to stay in the land. And he lived a quiet and a peaceable life. You know, and so it was with pretty much most of the prophets, but the other prophets they murdered because they plugged their ears and they didn't want to hear the truth. They wanted to continue doing what was wrong. Now back to this pastor in Florida. And so the people was like, you know, I was reading some of the comments, so you can tell they were church folk. You know, not necessarily, but maybe people that's, and I get the logic in it. I really, really do. But now is not the time to, if you had really good common sense, and like I said, if the presence of Yah is really there and people, and he had a packed out church too, you know, so I can tell you had a packed out church because the people are afraid and they don't know what's going to happen, but still at the same time putting yourself in that situation, not knowing, I ain't saying you ain't got to have faith that Yah is, not going to keep you alive in your church. But what about this church that packed? It was a black church too. You know, Yah said, I'm gonna deal with you too, Israel, while I judge the nations who held you and brought you in captivity and killed you and ripped up the pregnant women's stomach, ripped the babies out of their, fed the babies to alligators, called them alligator bait, all this stuff. He said, those are my people. He said, I'm going to judge the nations all over the world who did that to you. And we see all the nations all over the world being judged. And it's not clicking, people not putting two and two together, that the world is being judged because of the atrocities that they've done to Israel. Israel is scattered throughout the earth. That's why we are seeing these things happening all over the earth. That's why I try and post as many articles as I can that I can show you, like it's snowing unseasonally in places. Hail the size bigger than golf balls and grapefruit. I'm posting this stuff. And the things that was in Apocalypse of Abraham that I was telling you, we talked about that the other day. Boom, now articles come out yesterday about unnatural snow seasons happening. Blizzards happening in place, unseasonally in places. We're in spring. Not saying it not like a late snow, but these are it ain't never really done this for real. But we know that in Apocalypse of Abraham, which is, I consider it a holy document because it's history that happened, and Yahuwah spoke to Abraham. And what they canonized, they didn't put everything in here. They just pick and chose what they wanted to give to the masses. But even the book of Ezra, 2nd Esdras, tells you that there are going to be a certain amount of books and a certain amount of books will be made available for the righteous and the unrighteous, and then the rest of those books will be given to those who have wisdom. You know, it wouldn't be made, it's made available to everybody, but everybody wouldn't receive. The book of Second Esdras is Esdras or Ezra. It tells you, it just depends on what Bible you get and what it calls it. You know, it's Ezra. In the King James Version, you get, or the regular Holy Bible, is Ezra and Nehemiah. Those two books go together. They were one book, but they split them in half. They called the first one Ezra, and they called the second the book of Nehemiah. But Nehemiah is technically second Ezra. And then you have Esdras, or they call it first Esdras or second Esdras, or they'll rightfully call it third Ezra and fourth Ezra. So you got Ezra, Nehemiah, third Ezra, fourth Ezra, which is Ezra 1, Ezra 2, Ezra 3, and Ezra 4. But if you read through it, you can clearly tell that all was one book. They just split it up into 4 pieces and renamed 3 of them. You know, but you only get that stuff by reading, right? And then you can begin to put it together. So, when they started asking, the reporter started asking the police officer, the head police officer, lieutenant, whoever it was, giving the thing yesterday about the pastor in Florida. They said, well, we heard that the pastor, he has a huge arsenal of weapons. And you know me, I'm like, whew, I'm like, Father, you know how you watch stuff, you hear stuff on the news, and you automatically go, was he white or was he black? I'm gonna say it's a natural thing, but it's like a natural thing, and our minds go there. And when they said, I was like, whew, Father, don't let this be a black pastor. Don't let this be a black pastor. Don't let this be a black pastor. We already doing enough foolishness out here. I was like, please don't let that be a black pastor. Because the story, as they started asking questions, oh, they're going to go in there and drag him. Please don't let there be a black pastor. Please don't let there be a black pastor. And so then they said that he answered, he said, yes, that is true information. And that's why we haven't gone in there yet, because the pastor has bodyguards, a team who surrounds him. He has bodyguards, and he said yes, he does have an arsenal of weapons. And when we found that out, we saw that was true. They're rightfully registered to him and everything. He said that's why we didn't just go in there and rush. And we gave him a call, but the pastor was ignoring the phone calls, you know, and he wasn't returning phone calls to us. We were trying to get in touch with him. Hey, listen, let's just do this to stop the church services. We don't want anything. They were being civil, you know. But then he had another church service. And so that's when they issued the warrant for his arrest. And then the pastor's lawyer, they reached out, they got in touch with the lawyer and everything. And they said, we're talking to his lawyer, and we told the lawyer, please tell him to civilly turn himself in. You know, so they talked a couple times with the lawyer, and they said, okay, the lawyer got back to him. He's going to be turning himself in today. You know, so come to find out, he did. He kept his word. He turned himself in, but they didn't put him in jail or anything. That I don't know. I don't know if they slapped him with a misdemeanor. Listen, pastor, you can't do this. They maybe slapped him on the hand, but he wasn't a black pastor either, you know. So they actually showed a picture, a cutout of his church service. It may be a previous church service going on. He actually reminds me of Morris Cerullo. And I look, I was like, man, he look like Morris Cerullo. I'm like, thank you, Father, that he not black. Won't need nothing else happening. All people out there acting a fool, because the first church, yes, I get in a minute. The first church that the pastor, where everybody got infected, they were black. And I'm just, gosh, why don't y'all follow directions, people? You know, so, and I'm just like, oh, this is why the church is, they just got this name that follow them around. And that's why I said, Yahuwah said, I'm going to deal with you rebels. He said, because I cannot leave you unpunished. While I punish the nations, I'm personally going to punish you too. He said, I cannot leave you unpunished. And you can read all that through the book of the prophets. You think the book of Revelation is something. If you read through the book of the prophets, you can tell that a lot of the stuff from Revelation has been taken from the book of the prophets, and they just kind of added stuff and reworded a couple of the things, took something out here, took something out there, took a little bit of pieces from Daniel. And so I'm just like, oh, bruh, you know, so there she go. So I'm just like, if people would just read this, they would know. See, they're going to get themselves in there, just like the kings who continued to walk in the sins of their previous forefathers. and they continue to lead Israel in sin, and the nation of Israel in sin. It's the same principle. The pastors, not all of them, but these ones that's coming out to the forefront on the news, they're doing the same exact thing. And you are directly going against something specific that y'all said. Even about, like I said, about the quarantine that's in here. Y'all said, get them out of here. Go there until you're clean. Then the priest need to verify you clean. And if your home been infected too, let them go in there. Okay, then you need to sanctify. Make sure. Then you need to the priest can verify that your house is clean too. But if it's not, and y'all done cleaned it a couple times, he said it's not coming clean, burn it to the ground. Let's start over. So and there are very specific instructions about that. But somehow we seem to miss that. How do we miss that? It's the same exact thing. Why don't we just, like I said, they cherry pick. People want to cherry pick, and then you doing this and thinking, and you all gun ho. Yes. Think about the woman, Kim something. I forget where she was at, but she worked in the clerk's office, and she was a Christian. This was a couple years ago, but everybody probably know because it was all over the news. And she said one of her job descriptions was to notarize like marriage certificates. That's what your job is. That you knew that when you took this position. Maybe you became a Christian after you took this position, but you clearly knew that. But this is the description of your job position. Now, if you no longer, when they approve homosexual marriages, because this goes against what you believe, and this is part of your job description, at that time, you should have made a decision to quit your job or go for another position where you didn't have to put yourself in jeopardy of violating what you believe. Now, but no, you want to get up there and you want to make a big scene about it. I'm a Christian and this is against the Bible and we cannot. I get that. I completely get that. But now you're violating the laws of the land. And Yahuwah said, obey the laws of the land. Now, I get it. Nobody, just like the three Hebrew boys. We got all kind of examples. We can go all day. Whatever you want to talk about, there's an example of how to do it and how not to do it, right? The three Hebrew boys. King Nebuchadnezzar gave a rule. When you hear the sound of the sackbut, the flute, the harp, and all the music playing, you should all bow down and worship my statue. The three Hebrew boys' names like, what? No, this strictly goes against what we believe, and we're not going to do this. It said, King, we honor you, we honor our God more. And that's what I think some of the churches, they kind of get the stories mixed up. They want to add a little bit of the fire in the furnace and the three Hebrew boys with some of the quarantine stuff. They want to mix that together, but there has to be a separation. You have to know where you have to separate this at, and so they said, and they weren't fighting against it. They said, King, we honor you, but we honor y'all more. So yeah, King, girl, I got kids. King Nebuchadnezzar. If you don't know King Nebuchadnezzar, it's King Nebuchadnezzar. So on VeggieTales, they sang the song King Nebuchadnezzar. So if you hear me say Nebuchadnezzar, I mean the King of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so oh King, we honor y'all more. We cannot bow down and worship your statue. We only worship Yahuwah because He's our God. We worship the living God. Imagine the other surrounding nations; they were worshiping multiple gods. How did I find you? Who's this? I don't know how you found me, Jerry. They got me listed up here with all the live videos. So when people doing live videos, they have them all posted. So I don't know. Maybe I'm in there with all the people I don't know. So, but anyway, and so he was wroth that his servants, King, you set this decree. Daniel and his buddies out there, they is not bowing down to this statue that you set up. Then we make a decree. And the king was wroth. His men hyped them up. What? They're not bowing down to my statue. They disobeying my rules, my laws. But this is totally different from this right here. You're like leading your congregation into sin by directly going against something that you can control. They couldn't control this right here. Okay, this is what the laws of the land say. Okay, people, we have to do this because by having a service, we cannot comply with the 10 or less. And and we already had instance where this other church just a week prior, so everybody knew about that because that was national news. And all the church, including the pastor, they got infected with COVID-19. So this particular pastor that decided to do this yesterday and a couple days prior, they've already saw this. It wasn't like this hadn't happened yet. They already saw this and it was national news. So you still going to take a chance? God is going to come to your church and save you? Well, where was God at before this time? He's not going to just show up like that. Like I said, had God already been in your church, all the world would know. How do I know? Because think about Azusa Street. Everybody in the world knows about Azusa Street. Yah was really there. People were coming from all over the world to witness this move of Yah on Azusa Street, which was led by Israel, a son of Jacob, a descendant of Jacob, a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade. His God, the living God, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was there on Azusa Street. And the entire world knew. It was broadcast. I got books in there on reporters who, even as recent as about 10 years ago, the people who were still alive and witnessed the miracles and things that happened on Azusa Street, it was in articles and newspaper. It was televised. That's how we know God is not at your church. The world doesn't know about your church. The world is not knocking the doors and the walls down to get to your church. God is not there. You're being disobedient. Tell your people to go home. Go on live and do your stream. And so you got prophets coming up there. Leave them alone. People just want them. I'm like, you will be in trouble right along with them. Especially if they know you are prophets. But you're not a prophet or a priest of Yah. You're a prophet of Baal. And they're going to be in trouble right with you. You know, so that's what I was saying. So was the pastor wrong or was he right according to Yahuwah's standards? Because from what I understand, according to Yahuwah's standards, he's wrong. But the majority of people coming to his rescue saying, oh, this pastor is right. They just wanted to be in a place where God was. Okay. You go with that. You go with that. You go with that. And all of y'all are going to be in trouble. You know, and then you got the prophets of Yah, the true prophets, the prophet Elisha, the prophet Elijah, and even the prophets that you don't readily know that are prophets in the land that they just sitting back waiting like, Father, sitting back watching. Sitting back watching. Think about Elijah on Mount Carmel. Elijah on Mount Carmel. And all the prophets of Baal that were saying sweet things to all the people. And Elijah went to them, y'all better stop this. You know what? Let's have a showdown. Let's see who God is truly God. Get all the prophets of Baal. You know, and Jezebel wanted Elijah's head. Oh, Ahab, oh, you troubler of Israel. I don't trouble Israel. You trouble Israel. Let's get all your prophets. Meet us up here on Mount Carmel. All the 400 prophets. This is what we're going to do. Get you a bull. Get me a bull. Sacrifice your bull. We're going to sacrifice my bull. And the God who answers by fire, he is God. So Elijah said, y'all go first, homie. So they over there, all the prophets, the 400 prophets of Baal, they preparing their bull, they sacrifice and everything. Boom, boom, boom. They out there, go ahead. They out there doing their prayers, they rain dances, whatever you want to call it. And mind you, most of these prophets of Baal were children of Israel. Those were our brethren who defected to the sinning camp of our people, the ones who just didn't want to listen. Didn't want to follow the commands. So they over there, they doing all this. You know, they mix with those who haven't been called to be priests and prophets. So they over there doing their thing. Oh God, answer by fire. Whatever it was they were saying. So they doing all these shenanigans over there, trying to bring up the fire down, to burn up their calf. And Elijah's like, hey! He might be sitting on the toilet. He can't hear you. Scream a little louder. He might be deaf. Elijah, Yahuwah's prophet, sitting over there. Is he asleep? Wake him up. You know, he over there just mocking them. You know, because Elijah knew that the living God was with him. Right? So he said he let that crap go on all day. All these shenanigans he let go on all day long. He said, all right, enough of this. Bring my bull. Dig a ditch. Put the bull in it. Drench it with water. Put some more water on it. Put some more water on it. Put some more water on that bull till it was drenched and no fire could be made on that bull. Right? And so he do none of this crazy mess. He just said, drench the bull in water and watch my God answer by fire. And he said, Father, I am doing this at your word, that they may know that there is a living God and you rule in the kingdom of men. That I'm paraphrasing, but this is just what he said. And he said, let it be known today that you are the only God. You are the only God who answers. You rule in the kingdom of men, and show all these prophets that they've been leading your people astray. Drop the fire on it. Sucked up, consumed the entire wet bull, and Elijah said, round up all the prophets of Baal and burn them all for lying to the people and leading Yahuwah's people astray. Immediately the people, they defected to Elijah. They rounded up all them prophets. Just imagine the scene that was going on there when they realized the prophets of Baal had been leading them astray. They saw that wet bull consumed with the fire from heaven. They thought they was next. What you say, Elijah? Get them, get all of them. He hot, he running up the tree. Get them. They got all the prophets. He said, burn them all right here. And everybody, your God, Elisha is God. Then Jezebel wanted his head. So, it's the same thing today. Who we going to listen to? If you got a lot of prophets telling you sweet things, why is a prophet telling you about to get a car and a house? There are no prophets through here telling Yahuwah's people they're going to get a car or a house. What Yahuwah's law says is if you keep my commands, I will keep you. You don't even have to ask for things because I know what you need before you even ask me for them. Why are you telling them they're going to be blessed with a car and a house and a new job? That's not what Yahuwah don't need prophets for that. That's already set in his commands that those things will come when you're obedient and you live according to his rules of life and rules according to living in this land. What do I need you for? So was the pastor right or was the pastor wrong, y'all, according to Yahuwah? Because according to Yahuwah, that pastor in trouble. And like I said, had the power of God been there previously, we'd all know. We'd all know. But it wasn't. You're a vagabond and you're a tyrant and you about to get burned up with all the prophets of Baal. Round him up and all who listen and follow to him. It's time for the land to be cleansed. You know? All right, y'all. So was the pastor right or was he wrong? These people done piss your girl. Because I'm like, first of all, let me stop. Because we've been going on how long? We've been going on. I ain't even did the reading for this. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to bring that out. So we got the foolishness going on in the land. You need to be following the laws and commands. The days are going to get worse. They're clearly going to get worse. If you read it, you would know that the days are going to get worse. They're going to get worse. But those of us who keep Yahuwah's laws and commands, we are at peace. Because we know, of course, he was absolutely wrong, Jerry. He was absolutely wrong. And now, and if anybody in that congregation is positive or have the symptoms or are going to begin to experience the symptoms of COVID-19, they've already infected the people who they've come in contact with, because there's an incubation period, they say, from 2 to 14 days. And some people don't even experience symptoms in that time, but in that time, you're highly contagious. So, you know, there's going to be a reporter out there that want the preacher's head anyway. So we're going to find out whether the pastor's shenanigans over the last couple days actually got his congregation in trouble. And if they're going to be suffering for this, just like the other church last week. And what can you say? Can you cry out to Yah? You can cry out to him and he'll hear you. You know, because probably most of the people in this congregation were ignorant to what this says anyway. Because they probably don't read it. They probably only read what the preacher teaches them. I'm not saying they don't, but it's a handful of people that take the initiative and actually go through and read it from the beginning to the end. This is not a book where you can just skip around, because you're not gonna understand what's going on. You need to read it like a regular book. Go from the beginning to the end. You need to read it through a couple times to get the gist and the basis of the story and of the people that this entire book is about. And if you don't do that, you're wrong. And you get off into other doctrines, and you take scriptures out of context, and we see it all the time. I talk about it all the time. We get stuff that's national news. Okay, let's bring this up. Was they right or was they wrong? We can clearly see, according to the word of Yah, that we've been reading through for the last couple years, since December 22nd, 2018, coming on live every day. Because this is why I'm doing this, because I'm showing you, you miss what's here. It's not done away with. What has been done away with? Thou shalt not commit adultery. Is that okay today? It's still not okay today. And a lot of people don't realize that's in the laws of the land. Adultery is forbidden. Although the states and the government doesn't necessarily enforce it, it's in the law book. You can go look it up. That's why you can get a divorce if it's proven that your spouse was committing adultery. It's in the law. They got it from this law. All that stuff is there. Yahuwah's law teaches you to love him, to love your brethren, how not to violate yourself, how not to violate the land. How is that done away with? This is common sense. He told his laws in here how to keep your body clean. How is that done away with? He teaches us how to be a clean people. You are clean people, and this is how to be clean. Not just the outsides, but your spiritual insides and your physical insides. These are the foods you should eat and shouldn't eat. When you eat pork and bottom feeder foods like shrimp, you compromise your immune system. And that's how a lot of these people are getting sick. They have compromised immune systems. Think about China, why they done wiped out all them people because they eat bottom feeder foods. They eat pork. They eat rats. They eat roaches. They have market streets. They can eat dogs. They eat cats. And they're not afraid. They're not ashamed to show you this. They will slaughter a dog right in front of your face and cook it up. Huh? You don't want that? Get that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. You know, so I'm like, guys, this is common sense. And I'm trying to tell people, eat more fresh fruits and veggies. Y'all want to keep COVID-19 off, y'all? Keep y'all's commands. Stop putting disgusting. Say, yeah, it tastes good. You can make anything taste good. You season it up good enough. You cook it a certain way, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good for your body. It's still going to kill you eventually. It's still going to kill you eventually. That's like some of this doctrine people are teaching in the church. It's going to kill you eventually. If you keep following it, it's going to kill you eventually. It's going to kill you slowly. And Yahuwah's people are none the wise. He said, my people are foolish. None of them have any sense. And he even told the prophets, he said, you know what, stop praying for them. When I read it, I said, y'all said stop praying for them? Go read it. You can read it all through the book of Jeremiah. He said, stop praying for my people because they don't listen. Their hearts are already bent on doing what I told them not to do. And for that, because they no longer listen to the priests, they are not listening to the prophets, and they're killing you and they're jailing you, judgment has to come now. He said, tell them, all those destined for the sword, to the sword. All those destined for captivity, to captivity. All those destined for the grave, to the grave you shall go. And everybody that's followed you. He said, when I send the king, when King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar, when he comes, you all had better submit to him. And a lot of people don't realize that Yah blesses other nations. That's how he operates. He uses other nations to chastise his people. He uses nations to chastise nations. That's how it happens. Oh, God wouldn't do that. God doesn't do like that. I was like, you don't know him. You don't know him. And I can tell you don't read what he's giving you right here. This is within your reach. And you don't read it. You say you read it. You carry it around with you. Hey, brother. Bless the Lord. We're going to have a good church service today. Yes, yes, yes. Preach that. And this is an idol to you. You have no clue what's in there. I listen to people talk about Yah, that they be having like whole little services, good daily words from the Bible. I'm like, what you just say? Where you pull that from? You mixing up stories. You know, so and I don't go on people's little stuff like, that's wrong. I don't do that because that's their page. Now, unless you call me and you put my name in there and you ask me something, like somebody asked me the other day, I might be getting stories mixed up. I need you to verify this, Murphy Tribe. I'm like, see, Father didn't call me in on this. I was going to leave that alone. But they tagged me in this to verify this foolish information that they just gave out was true. Because I'm tagged in it, now I have to speak the truth. I said, I get the gist of what you're saying, but technically, yes, you're mixing up stories. You're wrong. These were two righteous kings. You cannot compare him to him. But I get the gist of what you're saying, and I went through, and I explained it, and I gave the chapters, and I gave the verses. But then, you know what that caused? It caused the heart of him to really come out. Well, we have a theological disagreement. Like, bruh, what Bible are you reading? I was there, and I didn't give you any kind of like interpretation. I almost gave you word for word what they said. I don't agree with that. I'm like, obviously, this is just what I'm talking about. But he tagged me in this. I was gonna leave it alone. Gosh, he was wrong. Preach, girl. Most people only know what they've been told. Exactly. People only know what they've been told, and they don't go back to verify and vet the information. Because I like when I was growing up, I was like, you know what? I need to verify this information. Not that I don't trust you, but I'm like, now I'm verifying everything you tell me today, though, because you won't have me falling off that cliff with you. I don't even want to go to work. I just want to girl, you better go to work. Go to work. You can. This is recorded. I ain't gonna get you in trouble. You supposed, girl, go to work, Trina. Go get dressed and go to work. You supposed to be at work. Go to work. Every prophet that teaches improve. I like you put every prophet like Mullah prophet. And that's what they are. Prophet. They looking for money. Grease the palm of my hand, sister. Grease the palm. Get out of here. Ain't none of Yahuwah's people ever. Even when they were the real prophets were. Remember Gehazi, the king who was sick. Out and he told him, "Hey, go dip yourself in the pool." He said, "Dip myself in the pool? I'm a king. You telling me because the king wanted some we need to bring everybody to see this and watch God heal me?" He said, "No, bro, go dip yourself in that pool over there." And he said, "King, if he had done something spectacular, that would have been okay. But now that he told you to go dip yourself over here in the pool, that's beneath you." So I said, man. He had to get his pride under control. And you know, if that sounds kind of familiar, yep, that was pulled from the Old Testament and reconstructed and put in the New. If you didn't know, but I'm just throw that out there for you. So he said, yeah, you're right. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going ahead and just be obedient to what the prophet said. Went ahead and dipped himself and he cleaned the leprosy that was on his body. And he came back and said, look, bruh, thank you. Y'all is truly with you. I got all these changes of clothes. Raymond, he said, listen, keep your gifts or give them to another. And he pretty much said, I'm not charging you for anything. Y'all did this for you, not me. Far be it from me to extract any kind of payment from you for what Yah has done for your life. And Gehazi, the prophet's right-hand man, was right there. He heard all this. So the king left. Gehazi snuck out the back. Rolled up. Hey, ain't that Gehazi coming up, king? Yeah, stop. He come up. He must have some news. Is everything well, Gehazi? He said, yes. But, after you left, we had some brothers coming down. We need like some changes of clothes. So, the things that you was going to offer, can we go ahead and get them? And we can, give them to the brothers that came down lying. And Yahuwah told the prophet, I believe it was Elisha. He told Elisha. And so when Gehazi came back, he went and hid the stuff that he took from the king, the gifts that the prophet had already said, keep for yourself and give them to another king. I ain't extracting no payment from you. And that's what I see when people, bless the ministry with this and I'm like, you should burn up right on the spot. Extracting payment from Yahuwah's people for something. What do you have to do with this? You're not going to do anything. Yah is going to do everything. You're just giving them the word. You're redirecting them to where they need to go. Tell me again, why are you extracting payment for this? Gehazi came back to Elisha. He said, hey, bruh, you thought it was cool to go take them gifts from the king. Gehazi was like, how you know that? Like, how Gehazi not know that Yahuwah was going to tell him? Like, this is Yahuwah man right here. You're under his tutelage. Like, how can you be under the tutelage of a righteous priest or a righteous prophet and still go do some of this crazy stuff that behooves him? Is because your heart is not right. You live and you're being taught by a righteous prophet and you see the miracles happening and you still go off and do something crazy. He said, the leprosy that was the king's is now yours. Boom, immediately. Quarantine you from the rest of the people for being an idiot. Bruh, and that's what our people doing. Man, every prophet that teaches and preaches truth, the world tries to kill. You're right. Man, I seen that. What I'm saying is we are praying for you, because if you speak the truth, in which case you are, the world is definitely going to hate me. Exactly. And so people send me little slick messages and stuff like, yeah, and I don't respond to stuff. It's like, okay, They look at you, who is you? Woman with 18 kids. Yeah, I'm obedient though. Yeah, I don't know about you. I ain't saying I'm perfect, but I know not to play around with him. Yeah, go ahead, keep on talking that. Yep, I ain't even gonna stand here and defend myself. I'm just gonna keep telling you the truth. You don't wanna listen? Kick rocks, bro. Kick rocks. Get out of here. You ain't gotta stay. You ain't got to come to my page. You ain't got to comment on my stuff. Like some people, they will comment on some of the things when I bring them the truth. They want to go back and forth. I'm like, okay. I don't go back and forth with them to go toe to toe with them. But I'm like, listen, you might want to rethink that. Go back here, look here. Some of y'all done read some of this stuff. Now, no, sister, you wrong. I'm like, okay. All right. And I'll stop responding. And they'll keep coming on. Sometimes, like last couple times, I just ignored a couple people. I ain't going there with her today. She already know where I stand. I said, I'm not. I'm just going to ignore people from now on because I already know your heart. Your heart is not right. I go to your page and look and see what you post. Your heart is not right. What are you trying to prove here? You know, so, all right, guys. So that went extra long than what I wanted to do. We ain't even did our reading for the day. And we ain't even had breakfast yet, Alicia. Okay, y'all. 2 Kings 21, 22, 23. Trina, go to work. It's recorded. Come back and listen to it on your break or when you get off work. I ain't trying to get you in trouble. Father, get her. Girl, get to work. Get to work. If you can listen to it in your ear while you drive and do that, but don't try and text and respond up here. Go to work, Trina. Go to work. Yeah, Alicia, because I know you will hop on it. Alicia like a Peter. She ready to slice off somebody's ear. What you say? I know you don't read Alicia. Alicia come locked and loaded with the priest and the prophet on her 24/7. That's my sister, if you don't know. Alicia Renee RN. Okay, y'all. 2 Kings 21 and 22. And I'm going to be fast, and then we're going to end this. I'm sorry, y'all. But I had to get that out just in case y'all saw that. And y'all was like, well, they just looking for y'all. No. They're disobeying y'all and disobeying the laws of the land that y'all told them to obey. All right. Oh, that's what I was saying about that particular thing. Yahuwah told Israel, he said, when King Nebuchadnezzar comes here, you go with him into captivity. And he said, those of you that obey, he'll allow some of you to stay in the land, stay on your own land and keep it. He said, but those of you who disobey him, you're going to die. He's going to kill you, and he's going to put you under hard labor for those he doesn't kill. You know, and of course, you got the group, no, we ain't got to listen to Jeremiah. He ain't going to do that. Hey, we ain't going with the king of Babylon. We just going to go on over here. And so it was a group of them, and it talks about it, a group of them that decided they weren't going to submit to King Nebuchadnezzar like Yahuwah told them. Yeah, I'm bringing a heathen king over here to rule over you. And we're going to see how just you think he is and how just you think I really am. Because every time he sends a heathen king to come rule over you, want a king? I give you a king. You don't want to follow. You think I'm a hard king? Let's bring a heathen king. See how you like that. They start ruling over him. Oh, Father, forgive us, please. And you know what? Yahuwah will hear their cries. He will raise up a deliverer and deliver them from the hand of the heathen kings and bring them back to the land. But there was a constant thing until he said, you got to go for a long time now. You're going to be a long time without a king. And that's the captivity we're currently in today. We've been a long time without our own king, and we're spread out all across the world. But now it's time. I'm at work. I have to open a clinic. Goodbye, Trina. It's recorded. Go ahead and open. If you can keep listening while you're open doing all your work, okay. I don't want to get you in trouble. Father, you see, I'm told her that we got witnesses. No, I know, I know you ain't in trouble. I'm just saying, but that's what they said. Excuse me. And so there was a group of them said we ain't submitting to King Nebuchadnezzar, and they tried to run off. King got it. He said, "Get that back over here," you know, and got him. Got him. Y'all thought y'all was gonna run. Y'all thought y'all was lying to you, but y'all want to be hard headed. Y'all think y'all can beat the system? They had to learn the hard way. All right. 2 Kings 21. I'm taking a sip of water. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Y'all gotta go. It's recorded. But I had to bring it up because we see that all the time, and it's like the church is getting in trouble. Don't try to use y'all as an excuse now when you weren't really, there's no power or nothing going on at your church. You got good motivational speeches and, you know, people playing on your emotions and stuff going on in your church. But there's no power there, because if there was power there, the whole world would know. So don't try and play me. Don't play me. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 50 and 5 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuwah cast out before the children of Israel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed. Remember how after you watch your king, your father rule as king, and he was a righteous king before Yahuwah, and he was the only king. Before and after him, there was no king who actually tore down all the high places and all the Baal worshiping centers that the other kings, even that were considered righteous, didn't do. They said they were considered righteous, but he didn't tear down the high places. King Hezekiah was the only one. Then your son comes after you and began to walk in the evil ways of previous kings and began to build up all the high places and Baal worshiping places that your father, a righteous king, tore down. People's hearts, because you can be under the teaching of a truly righteous king or a righteous teacher or a righteous priest or prophet and still decide in your own heart, I'm not going to walk in those ways, and he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, after the abominations of the heathen, to whom Yahuwah cast out before the children of Israel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel. Remember, Ahab was a king of Israel. Oh, you troubler of Israel. I don't trouble Israel. You trouble Israel. Talking to Yahuwah's prophet like that. And worship all the hosts of heaven and serve them. And he built altars in the house of Yahuwah, of which Yahuwah said, in Jerusalem will I put my name. And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of Yahuwah. And he made his son to pass through the fire and observe times and use enchantments and deal with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah to provoke him to anger. And he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which Yahuwah said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe and do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them. But they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom Yahuwah had destroyed before the children of Israel. And Yahuwah spake by his servants, the prophets, saying, because Manasseh, king of Judah, have done these abominations, and have done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and hath made Judah also to sin with his idols. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah, the God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whomsoever heareth it, both his ears shall tingle. Oh, Lisha just said, Doc said in China they will shoot you if you go out into the streets. Lisha, there was a video, I was going to post it, but it was really graphic. It was people record. They were out there. And people that were coughing. I was like, is this a movie? I was like, this got to be a movie. This was like about 2 weeks ago when it was at its peak or whatever. There were people that looked like they had M16 rifles. They got out. They were in full don medical gear. You would think there were doctors getting out until they pulled them guns out and they were walking down the street. People that were out there, they was right to the head. Right then, you heard people screaming. You heard them running. People falling over their dead. Oh my God. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this a movie? And it was people you can tell, and they was like, oh my God. And they were speaking in Chinese language, and they was like showing stuff, following. They were going in. I'm like, are they like assassins? I'm like, are these not police? Are these like people that decide they're not listening, they're gonna kill them? It was really graphic, and even Facebook played it, but you know how they put that graphic in this video it was graphic. I believe that. Like I said, and if the doctor said that, it's probably true, because there were some home videos. I mean, yeah. Because Manasseh, king of Judah, have done these abominations, and have done wickedly above all the Amorites did, which were before him, and hath made Judah to sin also with his idols. Thus saith Yahuwah, the God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth it, both his ears shall tingle. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them into the hand hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies. Because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. Remember in Genesis chapter 12, I believe, verse 15, or was it 15 and 12? Anyway, when he told him, he said, Abraham, down in the future, your lineage is going to go into captivity, and they shall, they're going to be there for 400 years. And a lot of people think, oh, well, they went in Egypt, that's 400 years. No, if you go back and you read and you pay attention, they were only in bondage in Egypt for about 260 years because they give you the clues that there was math there, because they didn't go into bondage until after Joseph had died. Remember, they had already been in the land for like a couple hundred years before, no, not a couple hundred. Like, when they came into the land, they weren't in bondage until Joseph had died, which was it was quite a few years. So when the new king came in and said, who did not know Joseph, he was like, we need to be wise with his people, lest they grow bigger and outnumber us and join with our enemies and just take over our land. So that's when they began to put hard bondage upon them, and if you go through and look at it, but that wasn't even the point. After they came out of Egypt with Moses, Yahuwah reiterated to Moses, mind you, they just come out of bondage of Egypt. Yahuwah said to Moses, these people, I'm letting you know before you die, that these people in the latter times, after you have gone to the grave to sleep with your fathers, sleep with the fathers mean you died. You're buried with your ancestors, your father, your mother, whatever, your family, you dead, okay? You dead in earth. He said, after you are no longer here, they are going to revert to their evil ways, and I'm going to send them, and they're going to be held in bondage 400 years. He said, and I'm going to send an enemy, and they're going to be transported by ships. And if you look through all this stuff, everything that Yahuwah has said has only happened to one race of people on the face of this earth anywhere. Even the people who are the current tenants in the land, in the state of Israel in Northeast Africa, they haven't experienced any of this stuff. Their women bellies haven't been cut open and a baby's taken out of it. Their skin is not even made to withstand the heat of hot climates. You can go read an article that they posted a few years ago that Israel, the people over in Israel up in Northeast Africa that call themselves the Jews, who are not but are the synagogue of Satan, they had the highest rate of skin cancer in the world. How you come out of serving the hard bondage in Egypt? Ain't none of them had skin cancer, none of them down. They were vigorous. They could withstand anything. They're not talking about you. So only one group of people on the face of the earth are Israel. And not all black people are Israel, but Israel is a people of color. Okay. So but y'all get that. But that's what it was talking about, because Yahuwah, I brought it up to say, Yahuwah reiterated that they were going to go into slavery again, this time for a very long time, 400 years. He said, but after that 400 years is up, he said, I am going to judge all the nations who held them captive. That's what it says. He said that to Moses after Moses had already delivered them from Egypt. So you mean that he wasn't talking about that bondage they had just been taken out of? It was a later bondage many years down the line. He told Daniel was sick. I told you yesterday, Daniel was sick for weeks, seeing what was about to happen, what was going to befall our people in many generations to come. You got to read it to put the whole story together. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to the other, beside his sin wherewith he made Judah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and Ammon his son reigned in his stead. Ammon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Haruz of Jotbah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, as his father Manasseh did. And he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idol that his father served, and worshipped them. And he forsook Yahuwah, the God of his fathers, and walked not in the ways of Yahuwah. And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and slew the king in his own house. And the people of the land slew all of them that had conspired against King Ammon. And the people of the land made Josiah his son, king in his stead. Now the rest of the acts of Amon which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And he was buried in his sepulchre in the garden of Uzzah, and Josiah his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings chapter 22. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedidiah, the daughter of Ediah of Bozkath. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of Yahuwah, saying, Go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of Yahuwah, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people, and let them deliver it into the hands into the hand of the doers of the work that have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah, and let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahuwah, to repair the breaches of the house. Excuse me, y'all. Unto carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. And Hilkiah the high priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king, and brought the king word again, and said, Thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of them that do the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahuwah. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest have delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, and Achbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asahiah a servant of the king, saying, Go inquire of Yahuwah for me, and for the people, and for all Judah, concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book. And that's why I be telling people, I was like, you see, perhaps 400 is a special number. Josiah was prophesied to be born 400 years prior. If you recall, the prophet prophesied this on the altar. Which prophet? Jog my memory real quick. I'm thinking. Oh, I'm sorry. Thing came in. Okay. I'm going to keep reading. I'll look back. Jog my memory. It's not clicking yet. Okay. Yes, babe. Okay. Get your cup and I give you some. Okay. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according to all that which is written concerning us. There you go. So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Achor, and Shaphan, and Asahiah went unto Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, the son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her. And she said unto them, Thus saith Yahuwah, the God of Israel, Tell the man that sent you to me, Thus saith Yahuwah, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah hath read, because they have forsaken me, and have burned incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me unto anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched. But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuwah, thus shall ye say to him, Thus saith Yahuwah, the God of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard. I get it in a minute. Because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before the Lord, when thou heardest what I spake against this place.
No!
Okay, it's the balloon, y'all. It's the balloon. That they should become a desolation and a curse, and has rent thy clothes and wept before me. I also have heard thee, saith Yahuwah. Behold, therefore, I will gather thee unto thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered into the grave in peace. and thine eyes shall not see the evil. Okay. And thou shalt not see the evil which I will bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again. All right, Jerry, I'm still looking. It ain't clicking. I might know what you're talking about, but it ain't clicking yet. The prophecy about Josiah being born 400 years prior. Okay, last chapter for today, y'all. 2 Kings chapter 23. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up. Okay.
It's gonna pop.
Okay, take it.
I'll pop it.
Sorry. Okay, y'all.
My Ellen.
I get it in a minute. Stop. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. 1 Kings chapter 13. Okay. I'll look at that. I'm gonna finish reading this, and I'm gonna go back and read, and I'll respond so I can in the video, Jerry. We can kind of chat. I'll go back and read it, and then I'll respond under here after this. And then if you come in tomorrow, I'll bring it up tomorrow. We'll kind of chat about it. You know, everybody can read it chapter. You know, we'll so I can jog my memory. Okay. And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read it in their ears, all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of Yahuwah. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before Yahuwah to walk after Yahuwah and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And that's simply what we're doing, y'all. We're just going through reading the words of the covenant, what Yahuwah said, and just trying to line up to it as best that we know how. Like, seriously. And as we do it, I realize that he's faithful in adjusting us. If we don't quite understand, he'll give us the understanding. Look, go here. Look, this is how. You know, so, and since I started doing, like I said, I was like, oh, we got to read this out loud. People not reading this. They have to see the difference in between actually reading this, understanding it, and keeping it, and being ignorant of it and not doing it. You know, it's really a life changer. Like I said, once I start putting this into practice, and my sister and some other people up here, they can testify. When we started lining up, like, wait, it said what? We'd had the Bible all our life, but ain't really read through it, you know. And it's like, wait a minute. It's like, wait a minute. And then you start seeing even places where you were lacking, things begin to fuse together, and then there's no lack, and what you think will fall short, it doesn't fall short anymore, because now we're keeping the commandments. We're like, holy, I was about to say holy crap, but now it's like, holy, Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Oh my God, we just stumbled upon something. This is where the power is at, keeping Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands. You know, I'm like, that's why I said, I'm like, why the church seem like it's dead? Why is there's no power? Because they try to do away with what Yah said. The power is here in keeping the law, statutes, and commands. Like, holy, Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. You know, so that's why we're reading this out loud, y'all. We done stumbled upon something that we done had in our possession all our lives. You know. Okay, guys, can y'all just keep it down just a little bit for a few more minutes? I'm almost done. Okay, y'all. And hey, shh. Verse 3. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before Yahuwah to walk after Yahuwah and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door. Hey. Shh. Go ahead, sit it up there and take some of the fruit. Just please don't drop it, okay? All right. To bring forth out of the temple of Yahuwah all the vessels that were made for Baal, and all for the grove, and for all the hosts of heaven. And he burnt them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the king of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in all the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, unto the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of Yahuwah without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it to small powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of Yahuwah, where women wove hangings for the grove. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had burned incense, from Geba to Beersheba, and brake down the high places of the gates that were in the entering of the gate of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of Yahuwah in Jerusalem, but they did eat of the unleavened bread among their brethren. And he defiled Topheth, which was in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or daughter to pass through the fire to Molech. And he took away the horses that the kings of Judah had given to the sun at the entering in of the house of Yahuwah by the chamber of Nathan-Melech, the chamberlain which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sun with fire. And the altars that were on the top of the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the king of Judah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of Yahuwah, did the king beat down, and break them down from thence, and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the mount of corruption, which Solomon the king of Israel had builded. Okay, yep, it's good. Strawberry, love them. Okay, which Solomon the king of Israel had built for Ashtaroth, the abomination of the Zidonians, and for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images, and cut down the groves, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high place which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high place he brake down, and burnt the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burnt the grove. And as Josiah turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the sepulchres, and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it according to the word of Yahuwah, which the man of God had proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, "What title is that I see?" And the men of the city told him, "Is this the sepulchre of the man of God which came from Judah, and proclaimed these things that thou hast done against the altar of Bethel?" And he said, "Let him alone. Let no man move his bones." So they let his bones alone, and the bones of the prophet that came out of Samaria, and all the houses also of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke Yahuwah to anger, Josiah took away, and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. And the king commanded all the people, saying, "Keep the Passover unto Yahuwah of God, as it is written in the book of his covenant." Passover is coming up. Passover is coming up. In my notebook, I see here, they got it listed, because I've been actually following it and watching it. I observed going out there and watching the moon and the sun, and how the different gates and stuff. I just been paying attention to it, and as I calculated it, I got April the 7th at sundown begins Passover, right? But what I noticed was that in here they already got it, but they got it for the next day. I'm like, oh, this is the closest they've ever been to the correct date. So a lot of people actually following this, and this year is probably just about everybody. I ain't gonna say everybody, but it's a lot of people that are going to be observing it on Wednesday at sundown, because that's what a lot of things say. I was like, and I went through and I had to double check. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, Father, am I a day off? Or their day off? But it says that the children are going to err in the times of the feast and everything, because they're going to throw off time, he said. But in the end, they're going to start coming back to him, which is our day, and we're going back to observing them and everything. So we're trying to calculate according, like, Father, help us. Like last year with the Feast of Trumpets, we were a week off. Remember that, y'all? We talked about we were a week off, and then the actual day of trumpets, Yahuwah alerted me that it was the day of trumpets that day. And what was crazy was a few of our family members, it's something, I'm just going to call it supernatural or something strange happened to all of us that particular day. Like my children, like it was coming to me like, check your days, check your days, check your days. And I'm like, already, it's next week or whatever. But you know me, I'm like, okay, I need to go pull this up. So what happened, because I was slow and moving to go get my book to check out, I was doing something else. The children took my shofar off the fireplace and began to blow it. Because the Feast of Trumpets is a day where he say, blow all the trumpets in Zion and proclaim the Feast of Trumpets or whatever. And my children, and I began to notice it. They pulled, I wasn't saying, they were playing. Then all of a sudden they got up. And they pulled the shofar, off of the fireplace. And they began to blow it and pass it along to each other. And it caught my attention. I was about to say, if you don't put that shofar back on my fireplace. I went to say it, but then I couldn't say anything out of my mouth. And I just watched them. And they successively passed it down the line. So all the small 4 children, and even Jeremiah came down and said, oh, y'all blowing the trumpet? Let me blow. I'm like, wait a minute. Let me get my book. Go back, calculate, boom, boom. Had to go to and say, oh. And I put it in our family. I said, guys, I think we were off a week. I think today is the day of trumpets. And then they was like, yo, we was here and this, and y'all did this. We think you're right. Because we were kind of alerted this. And Tiffany said, so I was like, oh, I'm like, Father, forgive me. I was like, I'm so sorry. I should have listened immediately, and I could have, because I was moving slow. And I'm glad that Yahuwah alerted us that we still actually got to participate. There are memorial feasts to remember what he's done for us and how he delivers us and everything. I'm like, Father, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. But I'm glad you alerted me where we can still celebrate it on this day. So we just alert. It was funny how everybody when we were, that was friggin' amazing. We all stay in different cities, but we were all like alerted at the same time that we were all. It was crazy how that happened. Like, blows my mind every time I think about it. So I'm just like, whoo, whoo, whoo. I get so excited, y'all. It's just like, man, bruh. Okay, let me hurry up and finish, y'all. Oh, okay. I only got like 2 more verses. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Verse 21. And the king commanded all the people, saying, keep the Passover unto Yahuwah your God, as it is written in the book of his covenant. Surely there was not held such a Passover from the days of the judges that judge Israel, nor all the times of the days of the king of Israel, nor of the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, that is a cantaloupe, babe. That's pineapple and that's cantaloupe.
What cantaloupe is?
It tastes good. Taste it. It's a melon. Okay. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was held But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holding to Yahuwah in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards and the images and the idols and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book of Hilkiah the priest, found in the house of Yahuwah. And like unto him, there was no king before him that turned to Yahuwah with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses. Neither after him that arose there any like him. Notwithstanding, Yahuwah turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherein his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations that Manasseh had provoked him withal. And Yahuwah said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel. And I will cast off this city Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house which I said, my name shall be there. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the rivers of Euphrates. King Josiah went against him, and he slew him at Megiddo, where he had seen him. Okay, Trina. Love you. Okay, you catch the rest of it when you get off. I'm almost done reading. I got a few more verses, and we done. And his servants carried him in a chariot, dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him and made him king in his father's stead. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all his fathers had done. See that? How do your sons? Because your heart is not right, right? His King Josiah, King Hezekiah, their sons, they did the opposite of their rule, where Yahuwah blessed them, you know. And Pharaoh Necho put him in bands at Riblah in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem. And he put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold, meaning he made them pay taxes, give tribute. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the room of Josiah his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, and he taxed the land to give money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. And he exacted silver and gold of the people of the land, of everyone according to his taxation, to give unto Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all his fathers had done. All right, y'all, and we are done. That's the reading for today. I'm so sorry it took so long. This is the longest reading that I have done ever in the 2 years that we have been the 2.5 years we have been reading through this. And probably because I started off with, the pastor who was arrested, but I had to bring in all the other things where we had examples through here to see that Yahuwah's people perish for the lack of knowledge, and not so much for a lack of knowledge. They have the lack of knowledge because they reject the knowledge that's right there in front of their face. So we got to stop this foolishness, y'all. If we want to see the power of Yah come back and invade this land like this book says, we need to line up. We need to return to his commands. And when we begin to cry out to him, he will hear us and he will come. All right, y'all. I love y'all. So let's do this blessing. I'm sorry I held y'all so long, but if you can't stay, if you already got off and you come back to read it, hey, I'm glad it's recorded and to stay up as long as Facebook let us stay. All right. And Yahuwah, hold on. Okay. When Yahuwah said, this is how you are to bless my people, is found in Numbers chapter 6. He said, you bless them with this blessing, and I myself will come and bless them. So we make it personal. May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And that's Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. But read the entire chapter to get the full just read it. Read it all. Go through it. Make it a habit to read it all. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the morning. Peace.